This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. This is the only show that focuses on the growth and development of your favorite city. It's brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate broker and deal maker, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jeff Beals.
Well, good morning to you, sir. I love that when late winter is turning into spring. We've had a really good weather week lately. Looks like there's some good stuff coming up. This is a great time of year just for life, but you know, also in the year-long cycle of our city's life.
Absolutely. I like the changing of the seasons, but I most like the changing of the season to the warmth.
Yeah, we like the four seasons, but there's one of the four seasons that comes in dead last for most of us, and that's the season that we are transitioning out of. Hey, we've got a new restaurant review up and running and ready for you to read. It's part of our Grow Omaha Eats series with Sarah Baker Hansen. Sarah is the premier food critic in Nebraska, and she writes for us at Grow Omaha. Of course, the Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews are brought to you by Cheer Athletics, the nation's top all-star gym. One of only 12 locations in the world would be right here in Omaha, Highway 50 and 370 in Papillion. And Cheer Athletics does such a great job of teaching kids leadership and life skills, and it's a great outlet for kids that are competitive and want to excel and be an outstanding competitor. So thanks to Cheer Athletics for making this possible. What is the restaurant that was in focus this week? Ota, O-T-A. It's part of Yoshitomo in Benson and Trenton. This was probably one of the most glowing restaurant reviews I've ever read in my life.
Absolutely. You know, Sarah, there's been times where we catch flack for some of her critiques from restaurant owners, but I'll tell you what, I've also had more people tell us how in-depth they are and how succinct she is, and she knows what she's talking about. And so if you go to the Omaha Weekly Market, the Grow Omaha Weekly Market Report at growomaha.com, you can see what we're talking about because they're all on there.
Yeah, and if you want to skip the market report, just when you get to growomaha.com, just click on Eats, E-A-T-S, in the navigation bar, and you can go see just the reviews. So talking about this restaurant, OTA, I assume it's pronounced Ota, but
Either way, it tastes the same.
It is an omakase experience inside Yoshitomo. And Sarah says in the lead paragraph, she says, "Today is all about bold pronouncements. I am now prepared to make several, starting here. Two-time James Beard semifinalist David Uterbach, who has just...
Utterback, isn't it?
Thank you. Who has just opened a new upgraded omakase experience in Benson called Ota, is making the best sushi in the Midwest, period." That's a bold statement.
Very bold statement. And there's a few sushi places that may take exception to it, but David has got to be very happy. He also owns Koji,
which also is amazing and popular, and that's in Countryside Village.
Yep.
So check this out. It's a fun review to read. If you do this omakase experience inside Yoshitomo, you're going to want to save up for it. It's not an inexpensive experience, but it's a special dinner that you'll remember for a long time. I've not yet tried it, but after reading the review, I'm definitely going to put it on the list.
Absolutely. And I just love how Omaha continues to experiment in the culinary space. Yeah. I'm being a millennial.
It's only going to get better and better too. I mean, the quality of the local restaurant scene is just skyrocketing, and I'm heartened. You know, every once in a while, I'll admit, I go to a chain restaurant once in a while, particularly the higher quality, nicer chain restaurants, what have you. But I'm always happy when I see more and more focus on local restaurants, local cuisine, local creativity in the Omaha restaurant scene, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. The quality keeps growing, and we're starting to get more and more recognition by food people and food organizations outside of the metro area as to how good the local culinary scene here is. All good stuff. And you can always keep up on all of that. We do our best to really mix it up with the places that Sarah reviews, and we'll continue to do that. You ready for the news?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. It's brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Their office is located at 114th and Davenport. That's just a shade south of 114th and Dodge. More importantly, they'll help you with home loans. You know, they always say buying a house is the biggest investment that the average person makes. And people tend to buy a handful of houses over the course of their lifetimes. So it's a pretty big deal. And if you're thinking about doing that, one of the first things you want to do is get a hold of Eagle Mortgage, talk with one of their mortgage brokers. Holly Schneiderwin has a team of outstanding people that work there. They'll listen to you. They'll hear what you're saying, what it is that you want to accomplish, the type of home that you want. Conventional loans, FHA loans, VA loans, they'll work with you on all of that. And the nice thing about using a mortgage broker is they can shop the market. So they're not just tied to one bank. They can get you the best deal and really coach you throughout the process. Well, we love working with them. We've had a relationship at Grow Omaha with Eagle Mortgage for about 7 years now, and believe in them and strongly recommend them. eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, let's get into it, Trenton. The first news item, developers are planning to tear down 2 small office buildings at 144th and DuPont Court. Translated into English, that's just a few blocks north of West Center Road. So if you can picture the Harvey Oaks Shopping Center, it's just north of that, or a little bit south of Heartwood Preserve. It's going to be called the Kingsley Apartments. So they're going to tear down these 2 smallish office buildings. They currently have like medical, dental uses in them.
Clark Stevens built them, and I didn't realize they were tearing down those buildings. I saw the drawings. I saw Larry Jobin at the meeting and all that, but these are like 5 stories, I believe.
Yeah, there'll be 5 stories, 200 apartment units total, and there'll actually be 2 buildings in a line, and they'll be connected by a multi-story parking structure. So it'll look pretty urban. Great infill project because, it's kind of interesting. Some of the suburban areas, like, when you and I were kids, Harvey Oaks was way out in West Omaha. When that development was built, Oakview Mall hadn't been started or anything like that. It was way out there. And now you're seeing, some of those 1980s era kind of underwhelming office buildings be replaced by something that's a lot more valuable. And what's interesting behind these 2 little buildings, and I know some of you can exactly picture what we're talking about, and some of you are probably thinking, I can't picture it because they're kind of nondescript. Right. But behind these buildings, the land goes back kind of in a long, narrow strip quite a ways toward the west. There's more room back there than you might think when you just pass by.
I believe the neighbors are objecting to the height and the scope of the project.
I get it, but I always have to laugh when people who live in neighborhoods think that they have the right to demand what someone does on privately held property that is located along a busy street like 144th Street. I'm like, it's just sometimes if you don't own the property, you don't get to control what goes there. And this is property that is really close to 144th and West Center Road.
If it's zoned, if it's buildable, chances are someday someone will build on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what was it recently? Last year, the Costco project at 180th and Maple, people were complaining because they wouldn't see green anymore. Well, in that case, you better buy the land if you want to keep it green. Otherwise, the reason people own it is to make money off from that land.
I remember L Street Marketplace all the way from 120th to 132nd. It was over 100 acres, and it was someone's objection was when they were little, they saw a hot air balloon land on it, and couldn't imagine it ever getting developed.
So because of that, we should leave it a grassy lawn forever. Yeah, it absolutely blows my mind, some of the things that people will say in front of the planning board when trying to convince local government to not allow a private property owner to do something legal with their property. So moving right along, the Collective is a new co-working space planning to open soon in Regency Landing. That's the 11-acre redevelopment project that is directly northeast of I-680 and Pacific Street. A lot of stuff has been happening there lately. We've talked about it. That's where Blue Sky Patio and Pickleball has opened recently, and Early Bird went in there Twisted Cork reopened after renovations. There was once a hotel there called the Regency Lodge. That part of the development is yet to be developed. But in the existing building that they saved and renovated, this co-working space is going to be just under 10,000 square feet. And it's going to be like a lot of co-working spaces where you have the furnished office and some on-site amenities. And co-working, Trenton, appears to be really gaining a lot of steam. It makes a lot of sense, especially in the post-pandemic world where you have so many people that have struck out on their own, doing small businesses. They don't want a lot of office space, but they at least want a place.
Yeah, and interestingly, and I was talking to one of the largest, and it's there's a parent company, but Regis. We all have heard Regis, and
huge,
and they're probably the world's largest, and what they do now is come in. They don't just lease space and then sublease it or whatever. What they do now is they go to the owner of the building and create a partnership, and actually they run it, and then they share the profits with the landlord.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
With the owner of the building. It's a very unique. I don't fully understand it, but I'm sure there's agreement on who pays for the improvements and that group and everything. And obviously they have expertise in charging for staplers and upcharging for all these different things. And it all depends on what type of space you want. But I'm seeing it. I'm leasing office space right now, which I don't see that slowing down. But then I have some companies that are saying all of our employees are working from home and we don't need office space anymore. There's a dichotomy on I don't know who's right at this juncture.
Well, we don't know who's right, but I can tell you this, office vacancies not bad. I mean, if you look at most of the reports, I look at the reports that come out from all of the real estate companies, from the data services. From what I can tell, it looks like office vacancy in Omaha is 10% or less.
But I call it shadow space, but I don't know what the correct term is or what the industry term is.
Sublease space?
No, it might be sublease space, but there's a lot of companies that are paying for space, but they're not in their space.
They're not really using it.
And they're not even have it up for sublease. So I wonder how those reports account for that, because
they don't, because it's leased.
Their people might come back. I was talking to one guy who has 8,000 feet, and he was saying that they try to come back on 2 days a week or 3 days a week. They'll come back for meetings, and if they have meetings, they'll come back. And interestingly, so you have upper management, and then you have the workers, the staff that are cube dwellers or office dwellers. And what he said was, after a long time out of the office, when they started coming back, they did this for several weeks, and he was concerned that the rank and file would have beefs with upper management. What he found was they were bickering among each other. That they're not used to they communicate over their Teams or whatever it is they do on the computers. They're not used to being in the same area, or someone's playing music or someone's doing whatever. And he was so surprised that what once before COVID was everybody kind of got along, everybody kind of knew their place, and they're used to 5 days a week at the office. Now they do everything to get out of the office, and when they're together, it's like a socialization and interpersonal skills. A lot of that is lost.
I personally can't relate to it. The 3 months that we were forced to be out of our office during the shutdown were 3 of the longest months of my life. I hated not going to an office, so I can't relate to it. But a very sizable percentage of the workforce would happily work from home every day. The problem is, if you're never in the office, and I hate to say this because it makes a lot of people mad, it just doesn't work. It's so hard to onboard new talent if you're not physically together. It's hard to develop leaders. It's hard to create a real strong culture if you're never physically in the same room together.
Well, it's a watered down version of dating now. It's people talk about how dating over the internet and everything, they get together and it's like a job interview. They don't know how to interact with each other in person.
Fill out an application and show your and fill out the I-9 form before we go on a date.
And it's so easy to go to the next one.
Well, the collective, we just talked about that. Next item is the Nebraska Department of Economic Development has opened a satellite office in the Metropolitan Community College campus near 30th and Q Street in South Omaha. So there is going to be so much development coming to South Omaha that the Nebraska Department of Economic Development is thinking, hey, we need to have a branch office down there. And a part of that is going to be incredible infusion of millions of dollars of ARPA funds, some of which we'll talk about a little more in the next segment with some big plans on the South 24th Street corridor. But I think that's a good sign for growth and development that people anticipate in South O with the Nebraska DED putting an office there. Concordia Lutheran Schools of Omaha plans to merge its elementary location with its junior-senior high school later this year. Construction is expected to begin still this spring on a $15 million addition to the existing high school building. It's just northwest of 156th and Fort Street. Completion is scheduled for June of 2024. The elementary school is currently located at a church near 90th and Blondo. The city of Council Bluffs is reconstructing the South Expressway between Interstate 80 and 19th Avenue. That's about maybe halfway between I-80 and downtown Council Bluffs. Construction is going to begin on Monday, expected to begin expected to begin on Monday and expected to be completed by late fall. A needed project. You know, Council Bluffs, state of Iowa Department of Transportation has spent incredible amounts of money on the Council Bluffs freeway system, which is mind-bogglingly awesome, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, you got to pay attention now.
It's so cool, though.
We're so used to getting off at different places and getting on, and so you really got to watch the sign. You know, the Omaha
side of the Metro freeway system carries a lot more traffic, but what the Iowa Department of Transportation has built for the Council Bluffs side of the freeway system,
now.
It blows your mind. It looks like those interchanges look like something you see in Dallas, Fort Worth, and it's just so efficient the way they've designed it. And right now they're just wrapping up the I-480, I-29. Well, not just wrapping it up. It probably still has a lot of this year to go. But the I-29, I-480 just east of downtown Omaha is an incredibly cool interchange, and it's going to handle massive amounts of traffic. So kudos to Council Bluffs and IDOT for everything going on in that area. It wasn't
too bad of a winter for construction either.
Yeah, that helped quite a bit too. The downtown branch of the library is going to be delayed until May. It was going to open in March, but these things a lot of times take longer than you think. This is the 14th and Jones location. So instead of March, it looks like a May opening date. But if you drive by, the outside's looking pretty cool. Signage is up. It's going to be a nice addition to that far southwest part of the old market district.
You love the Steel House, too. Have you driven by that?
Oh, my gosh. It looks so cool. And that's getting, within a couple months of opening. So many exciting things happening in the area. We're going to take our first break of the hour. And when we come back, Trenton and I are going to be talking about $94 million in proposed development on the South 24th Street corridor in Old South Omaha and a few other things. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
It'd be fun to go back 15 years or even at the beginning about how small the projects were. There's a $3 million project for this hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's $30 million apartment project.
Well, the example I always use in 1988-89, when they redid the entire Conagra development, all those buildings, they had to tear down, which was a mistake, tear down all the Jobbers Canyon stuff, build that lake and everything, that whole thing, $60 million. That doesn't even now buy you 10% of a Mutual of Omaha skyscraper.
Yeah.
And so now they'll be like $94 million of just like some streetscape improvements in a few small buildings in South Omaha.
Small developers doing $20 million. Then you got all those historic tax credits. You got TIF. You got
Have you been denied the disability benefits? Unhappy with your rating? Call Elder Law of Omaha.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Attorney Cameron Krieger, an Air Force veteran.
Like a $60 million project just isn't, it's nice, but it just isn't all that exciting.
And then you get the government projects. $1 billion.
Well, that's what it starts at. It ends at $2 billion. Speaking of billions, did you see that the new Kansas City airport terminal opened?
Yeah, did you see John posted that? John Blumenfeld posted it on Facebook. Did you look at it?
Yeah, I've been following that story because, we're getting a $600 million one.
What did they spend?
I think it was like
1.25
or 1.5 billion on this terminal, and it's.
Are they getting rid of their terminals?
I think so. Their current terminal is horrible. Like when it was first built in the early '70s, it was really cool.
You're talking about Kansas City, or are you talking about us?
Kansas City. When it was first built in the early '70s, it was really cool and all that. But the problem is, as soon as the 9/11 security enhancements came, it was no longer practical. And then, of course, it looked really dated because it was very much 70s and all that sort of thing. So this new terminal is awesome. 40 gates. So our new one's going to have 22, 23, something like that. And ours will be about 600 million. But, we're half the market size.
Chris, would there be a way that if we did our... No, our advertisers wouldn't like it. I was going to say, we could go stream live on Facebook or something. Do people stream live on Facebook, right? Like the uncut version, but then our advertisers might be a little upset.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And with Facebook, you're living on rented space instead of the space we own.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can do YouTube live too, though.
Although I guess we're living on rented space on KFAB. We've been living on rented space on KFAB for 19 years.
Marty's on a second room.
But anyway, that airport terminal is awesome. Like it looks so nice. I've been in a couple really new terminals in recent years, like the brand new LaGuardia terminal is awesome. It is so nice, which is funny because the old LaGuardia was like
we're back.
The worst terminal in America.
Work with us, Roger.
You're getting pretty close to the bottom of the hour.
Here's another 5-minute break for it.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. You're listening to Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. If you ever need a little body work for that car,
or a lot of body work,
which there sometimes is a need for a lot of body work, go to Dingman's. 4 metro area locations. Take good care of you. Trenton and I have both worked with them, and highly recommend Dingman's Collision Center. So cool stuff planned for South Omaha. As we've talked about in the past, there are a lot of ARPA funds that are going to be heading to South Omaha. And just within the last week, the Latino Economic Development Council and other South Omaha leaders unveiled plans for a $94 million project in the heart of South Omaha. When you think of the heart of downtown South Omaha, Nebraska, you think of 24th Street. And at 24th and N, there is a little outdoor plaza called Plaza de la Raza. It's pretty small. Frankly, most of it is parking. But the plans call for expanding that quite a bit. And so instead of just a few benches and some shade trees, we would have a children's play area, a covered picnic area, a stage, a grassy lawn. And then the parking would be kind of bumped out onto 25th Street, a block to the west. So 25th Street would kind of drive through a parking lot, so to speak. And then in addition to that, 3 other building projects would happen. So you got Plaza de la Raza, which is at N Street, starting on 24th Street, going west to 25th Street. On 25th and O, so just a little bit behind that, 2 buildings would be planned. One of them would be a culture center building. So it'd be a building with exhibits and information and services. And it's described as celebrating Latino culture. And then immediately south of that would be a mixed income residential building with a lot of units. So you'd be bringing a lot of life and activity to that part of South O. But then if you go just a block to the east, so picture 23rd and N Street, and if you're not familiar with the area, it's kind of hard to picture, but if you are southwest corner of 23rd and N, kind of just an underutilized, a lot of surface parking, that would become a 3-story parking garage with ground level retail space. All of this together, $94 million. Still got a ways to go because it's all part of this ARPA thing, so there's probably a lot of moving pieces and whatnot. But pretty cool stuff. That area already is very lively, very vibrant, very fun to go to, good restaurants and shops. But it looks like it's going to get a heck of a lot better.
It's exciting. My dad's from South Omaha. They call them SOBs, South Omaha Boys. And, the culture is great. It's still great. He grew up on 20th and Vinton Street. But to see the revitalization of that whole corridor and a lot of hardworking people down there.
There have been several times on Grow Omaha where I've referred to parts of South Omaha or locations in South Omaha that are north of Vinton Street. And I've had some old timers and some South Omaha purists call me or send me emails voicing their displeasure because apparently South Omaha is not supposed to go north of Vinton Street. And I think that's probably maybe if you're using the old civic borders of the city that used to be South Omaha, Nebraska before it was annexed. But to me, if it's south of downtown, it's South Omaha. Apologize to anyone.
We're glad that people are listening and commenting.
And by the way,
call Jeff.
My mom grew up in South Omaha too, so I've got a little bit of South Oak cred just like you do. All right, we're going to take our middle of the show break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about some news at Henry Dorley Zoo. We're going to be talking about a new retail store in Exarban. We're going to be talking about 2 new Midtown apartment projects. We're going to be talking about a hell of a lot. So don't leave us. Stay with us through the news. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
I'm going to go to Scooter's and get a coffee with everyone.
Could you also swing by Starbucks? He prefers Starbucks over Scooter's.
Omaha vehicle owners have chosen Dingman's to repair
Stories
their
are
vehicles.
awesome.
Your loyalty has been shown through
Stories is good.
an amazing
I have a hard time getting
also
my money to
voted as
Starbucks.
First place best of Omaha for the
Yeah,
past
because their
17
coffee
years.
tastes
We
burnt.
want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman.
Well, the worst
Company
coffee
and our
is
incredible
Dunkin'
technicians
Donuts.
to repair your vehicles. At Dingman,
So this is
rather be
so
the
Sarah
best,
gets in
apologize
the
for
newsletter. We
anything
just
less.
tell it straight. We kind of free flow here on what we like and hate.
During Grow Omaha Uncut, we say what's good, what sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but the tea at Dunkin's okay.
Man, the donuts aren't even made fresh there.
I'm a tea guy. I don't drink coffee.
Chris, do you like Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah, we like it.
This tea is from Bailey's, 120th and Pacific. If you ever want to have an outstanding breakfast, go to Bailey's. I love that
That's
place.
good. And also the professional lunch eater crowd's there a lot.
Oh yeah, like the ladies who lunch.
That's all right.
The ladies who lunch love Bailey's.
Wendy's
They also like,
French
is the
toast
market
sticks are
basket
so
still
good.
around?
Some are so
Yeah, but it's
good.
over
Better
at
than their mom's
90th and Center?
Lovely.
That was always the ladies who
Perfectly
lunch kind of
fluffy on the
place.
inside. Perfectly perfect in every way. Try
But
Wendy's
I had
homemade
female
French
clients.
toast
I mean,
See if they're better than your mom's.
It can be dangerously easy.
Any place where
Levon Planback, she eats there every day.
Any place where one of the top 3 menu items is chilled chicken salad on a croissant bun is not my lunch place. I like something a little more substantive.
Amy thinks you have a wonderful diet.
I do have a wonderful diet. Is she being sarcastic?
Yeah.
What's wrong with my diet? I eat very few carbs. I eat very few carbs. What else is wrong? I'm heavy on fruits and vegetables. What's wrong with my diet?
She just questions your palate.
How so?
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Say it. I want to hear it now. You've opened the Pandora's box. You better finish. What's wrong with my
Well,
palate?
let's refer to her. We'll talk. I'll let you talk to
I'm
her.
going to text her right now.
You got it.
What's wrong with my palate?
If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary,
No, I seriously,
talk to
I
Cordell and Cordell. We're
eat everything.
You and I are the picture of health.
My palate?
I'm the before picture of health.
Name an ethnicity of food that I don't eat.
Your vehicle is important. It gets you where you need to go,
Right.
but it does much more than that.
The only thing I
I'm
hate
Darcy with
are
Dingman's
funnel
Collision
cakes.
Center. And at Dingman's,
I don't
we know
eat
your
funnel
vehicle
cakes because
is
I
an
got sick
investment
on them once at
and
Worlds of
safety
Fun when I was a
priority.
kid.
Cotton candy?
To make sure your
What?
vehicle
Do you
is
cotton
as safe
candy?
as it was
Hate
prior to
cotton
an
candy. It's
accident,
too
bring it
sweet.
to Dingman's
See, I don't
for
even-
proper
there is sugar.
cleaning and certified
That's-
repairs.
thanks, Rod.
Pardon me?
Protect
Jesus.
and your investment.
Good
I don't
time to
need
talk
one.
about food.
I didn't realize there was that much there.
All right, let Roger off the cage.
I'd rather be the best, but apologize for anything less. Find us at
That was awesome.
dingman's.com.
I'm going to send your wife a text now.
Fox News,
I'm Karen McHugh. A severe nationwide storm system that began.
What is your go-to restaurant?
Just
What's
now leaving the East Coast
wrong
behind.
3 days severe weather event
with
that for the
my
most part is
palate?
over. We still have a little bit of snow in New England from
Damn
the
it,
same
bro.
storm, but for the most part, at least the worst of the impacts are gone.
Fox meteorologist Rick Brightmuth. In
think
South
this is a little
Carolina, convicted murderer
Grandma
Alex Murdaugh has
segment.
begun serving
So what's
his
wrong
life
with my
sentence without the
thought? She's in
possibility of
Columbia.
parole.
She's gonna be reading this. She's like,
His
what?
wife and son.
54-year-old Alec Murdaugh appeared in a prison mugshot on Friday with a shaved
Boy, this
head,
family of Murdaugh.
prison
Have you seen that show on
jumpsuit. He's booked into a
Netflix?
temporary
Even
evaluation center where he'll
Pawpaw
face a
was on the
number of
boat and killed that
medical
girl
health tests.
driving
On
drunk,
Thursday,
but
Murdaugh was
but
convicted
Buster.
of killing his wife Maggie and son Paul.
Right before that,
Prosecutors say he killed
there's
them
rumors
to
that
gain
a
sympathy
14-year-old kid
and
or
buy
that
time
he might have had
before
a
investigations into his
man-to-man
financial
relationship
problems.
with this guy, and this kid was found in the middle of the road, like hit by a car or something.
Well,
This family,
I wasn't following it until I wasn't following this until the verdict came out because I'd been hearing like it's on the news a little bit, but I never really paid attention to it. And then, but when the verdict came out, Stephanie turned it on, and then I ended up watching like 45 minutes of post-verdict coverage.
Do you think?
And then I was like, why wasn't I into this earlier? This is fascinating.
you watch Netflix, you get the whole bit. But they had like the district attorney for like
But
100
the
years.
Clintons, people died.
Their family, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that was referenced by a news source. But for like 100 years, that county, the district attorney was like Murdaugh.
Yeah.
And
Well, then like the grandfather and the father and the great grandfather all had their portraits hanging in the courthouse.
they took him down for time being, at least.
Maybe forever.
Do you think any of this would be happening though if they didn't have red hair? They're gingers.
We do not discriminate against gingers on this show. That was just an off-color comment that he didn't mean to make.
No, it was just red. It was red. It wasn't off color. Thank you.
He loves gingers. He doesn't.
Don't slice this up into like a special
He doesn't
segment.
have a problem with gingers. We don't need a woke ginger mob outside the studio protesting his insensitive comments.
Breaking the bank. Check out their happy hour too. Beer, wine, sake.
Can you imagine a mob of
gingers?
Bunch of pale.
Are they clubs? Yeah, could you imagine? I'm guessing that they don't go like to Antigua for their conventions.
Sunburns.
Yeah.
Get sunburned easily. Again, we're digging ourselves a hole with all of the gingers. And a lot of redheaded fans.
The only thing I love more than you is Sadie. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
We'll have to issue an apology next week.
This commercial break be any longer?
Same as every week.
Lenny
It
went
is
to
long.
college and racked up huge debt.
I think they're using us.
For a
They're
degree
using us
he
for our
couldn't
ratings.
use, now what?
Everybody wants to be a groom.
It was done in just months.
Listen.
So did you guys update the Facebook page or our website? It's somewhere it said new.
Become an IT pro in just
Our new
months with
website.
zero experience at
On something,
MyComputerWare.
Romo.
It worked for me, and I know it can
On
work
social
for you.
media.
It's not rocket science. It's
Oh, you've been hacked.
mycomputercareer.edu.
Maybe we should do a.
Everyone says they
Maybe we
like
should
working
periodically
with a
like
local company.
go
Then it
just
comes
go
time to
like
get
a couple
that
times a year,
homework.
just go through it and
It's the
see.
biggest
If
investment
I should.
most of us ever
I should a
make.
couple of times a year. I should put on my calendar and just like do updates where needed.
Just don't. Contact
Start a
Holly
foundation.
and her fun and professional staff right here in
The
Omaha.
Trinity
and
Mega
Eagle
Foundation
Mortgage.
donate to that.
I love showing that to
Mortgage
people.
or
It's so funny.
refinance and let them beat
What?
the
Check out our
national
bios
rates and
on our
service.
website.
Eagle Mortgage.
I wrote
Online
them.
at
changed it.
eaglemortgagecompany.com. NMLS number 2.
What was the original one? Even though the Secretary of State.
An imaginary organization that's not recognized by the Nebraska Secretary of State. or any other entity for that matter.
Rational people have to look at that going,
Just because someone says they have a foundation doesn't mean that they necessarily have a
I have a
foundation.
firm foundation.
There you go.
Radio 1110 KFAB and KFAB.com and
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. And we are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Eric Obrumpt and the team at D&M Roofing and Siding do such a great job of, well, roofing and siding.
That's my D&M roofing and siding Yeti bug I take everywhere.
Speaking of Yeti, we're going to be doing a live remote broadcast from the new Yeti store at Nebraska Crossing on March 11th.
Come out and see us.
That's just, gosh, is that already just next? That's already next week. That's hard to believe. So, yeah, next weekend we're going to be live at Nebraska Crossing at the
March
Yodi store.
over to NEX.
It's time for the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com, one of the premier real estate development firms in the United States of America, is headquartered right here in Omaha, Noddle Companies. You know, big projects here in town, but a lot of people don't realize that Noddle is nationwide. They do projects in a lot of other cities.
A lot in Denver.
All over the place.
New York.
And here in Omaha, of course, they are known for butterfly shrimp. So
Shrimp ducky.
In Omaha, they're known for the Builders District. We talked about that last week, where that new 1.5 acre urban mini park that's going to be highly activated is going in.
Steel Ridge.
They have that. They have Village Point West Medical Center, Rivers Edge and Council Bluffs. But today we're going to talk about the development that Omahans probably think of the most when they think of Noddle Companies, and that would be Exarban Village. And in Exarban Village is HDR's global headquarters. The ground floor of that global headquarters has a lot of retail space. You got Zoop. You got a really cool handbag store, like a florist plant store. You have 308 Boutique. You got the new candle store we talked about a couple weeks ago. Well, there had been a Lululemon pop-up store, and that has left. And in its place is going to be a locally owned men's clothing store. We don't know the name of it yet, and we will let you know when we are allowed to say the name of it. But for now, just know that a nice locally owned men's clothing store is going to be joining the lineup of very impressive retailers in Exarban Village.
I think they should bring back the name Krug's as a throwback to the countryside village.
I remember Krug's.
When we were little, everybody shopped at Krug's.
Or you could bring Tully's back.
Tully's, yeah.
Yeah. Or Landon's. There were all sorts of men's clothing stores
yeah.
we used to have back in the day. We could probably keep going. But that is
Foreman and Clark.
Foreman and Clark. And what's your joke about Foreman and Clark?
This guy is so stupid he thinks Foreman and Clark's five guys.
There you go. And so that is your commercial real estate development news of the week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. You can find more about Noddle Companies at noddlecompanies.com right there online. How cool is this? The Omaha Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium just this week had another brand new baby elephant. It was a male born on March 2nd, so just a couple days ago. The mom is Lolly, an 11-year-old African elephant. This is the third elephant calf born in the Omaha Zoo in just a little over a year. Very, very cool. In fact, the majority of elephants born in the United States in a 2-year period are born in just one zoo, the Omaha Zoo. And so this is really cool. 3 baby elephants in the zoo. So that brings the elephant population here to 9 or 10 or something like that.
11-year-old mother.
A little young.
Children having children.
Children having children. That's one very large child.
They're just pachyderming them in there, aren't they?
But here's the cool thing. Love what you did there. There's a 4th elephant calf that is expected to arrive to another one of our elephants late summer. So we are
They're eating a lot of oysters over there or something.
We're apparently about ready to start an elephant daycare and preschool here in Omaha. That is really, really cool. Kudos.
They are beautiful. Those baby elephants are so much fun.
Well, and kudos to everyone at the Henry Doorly Zoo for, the elephant facility is just over the pale cool. Both the indoor and external outdoor part of it are awesome. And the care and the management of the elephants that we're doing here in Omaha makes us proud of all the people that are working so hard at the zoo. Hey, speaking of the zoo, here's your chance to show the world how much you love the Omaha Zoo. USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards has selected our zoo as a contender for Best Zoo. And then the related Lee G. Simmons Wildlife Safari Park in Ashland is up for Best Safari Park in America. Specifically inside the zoo, the Asian Highlands exhibit has been nominated for Best Zoo Exhibit in America. So if you want to vote for these, you can do so until Monday at 11 a.m.
Like once a day, I think.
Once a day per person per device.
You can vote. Yeah, you can vote early and often.
So if you want to do that, probably the way we would prefer you to do this would be to go to growomaha.com, click on Market Report, go to this past Thursday's newsletter, and if you scroll down into our snippets section of the newsletter, there's a place where you can vote for Hindenburg Zoo and Aquarium for Best Zoo, Asian Highlands for Best Zoo Exhibit, and Lee G. Simmons Wildlife Safari Park for Best Safari Park.
It's got to be the easiest way to get there.
Well, how else would they do it, Smarty Pants?
I don't know. I think this is a good one.
Okay, do it the way I just
Go to our
suggested it.
newsletter.
Speaking of the newsletter, if you're not currently getting the emailed version of it, which comes out every Thursday afternoon, we would like you to get it. We already have well over 16,000 Omahans who get our emailed newsletter every Thursday afternoon. Anyone who signs up for the newsletter email before March 10th is going to be entered into a contest for a $500 Nebraska Crossing gift card. You can use it at any of the retailers at Nebraska Crossing. $500 can get you a lot of shoes and a lot of shirts.
And there's more than one gift card we're giving away.
Correct. And so by March 10th, and the way you do that is just go to the Grow Omaha website, click on Market Report, and then there's a place where you can sign up for it. So, hey, might as well throw your hat in the ring, and more importantly, get the newsletter. Hey, let's talk about a couple of really cool apartment projects that are coming to urban Omaha. One of them we announced last year. It is a 5-story, 82 apartment building that's going to be built at 15th and Marcy. So that's just one block south of 15th and Leavenworth, kind of putting it in an old kind of industrial, lightly used piece of land there. Anyway, I bring that up because grading has started on that, which means that we should see construction. It'll have indoor parking, nice building, red brick, pretty impressive. Then go a little ways west to 36th and Leavenworth. We have what's going to be called Leavenworth Lofts. It just went through planning board this week. This is going to be 4 stories, 24 units. A couple things that are really cool about this one. It'll also have indoor parking too. Couple things that are really cool about this Leavenworth Lofts project. Number one, it's being absolutely shoehorned into a small lot, only 12,000 square foot lot. And so if you're not familiar with the area, there's a fairly new multifamily complex to the north of it called the Conrad. Just to the east of this little lot is, I think it's a Quick Shop or some convenience store. So literally this is great urban infill here. The other thing that's cool about it, of the 24 units, about half of them are going to be VRBO, vacation rentals by owner. So it'll be about half full-time residents, half VRBO. So it'll be like a Colorado condo. Half the people live there, half the people are just vacationers there to ski. So a couple of cool multifamily projects. All right.
Leavenworth is really coming along.
Well, yeah, because also in that area, 38th and Leavenworth, is that huge, I can't remember what they call it. Yeah, it's like 5 stories. It's a block long, big apartment project that is nearing completion in that area. And the name escapes me. It's on the Grow Omaha Facebook page because a few weeks ago, Brad Williams posted some updated photos of it. Maybe we'll look at that over the break.
Well, you're not going to our website. Go to our Facebook page.
And that's the third segment of the show, which means we've got one segment left. And Trenton, what do we call the last segment of the show?
The Lightning Round by Turner Construction.
Which is when we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. We got new restaurants. We've got cookie shops. We've got an update on all sorts of retailers. So stay with us. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Yeah, we got a lot.
We got a lot of this stuff. What's that called?
Yeah, let's look it up real fast.
Listen to our sister station, 93.3 The Wolf, on our free iHeartRadio app.
Do you have someone giving you a no-cost risk assessment of your roof on your commercial property? If not, you should. Hi, this is Eric Operimp with D&M Roofing. No-cost risk management is a free service we offer. Let us come take a look at your property to make sure you don't have any damage from the
You're going to have about 4 minutes.
Our experienced team will help you through the process.
We'll have to fly pretty fast.
Omaha business since 1965. Find us online at dnmroofing.com. That's dnmroofing.com. Let's get that fixed.
Okay. You know you're ready for a Cadillac. I know you're ready for a Cadillac, and you're ready for a Cadillac.
I don't want a
The key
Cadillac.
is, are you going to get a good deal on one? And the answer is yes if you go to Edwards Cadillac.
Only if it's
over in
like one of
Council
those
Bluffs.
70s
I know
Cadillacs.
for Edwards Cadillac. Before you buy one anywhere else, make sure you swing by Edwards and price shop Edwards. We've got XT4s right now, those nifty SUV crossovers that are beautiful.
Cadillac has crossovers?
Edwards Cadillac in Council Bluffs. Online, edwardscadillac.com.
Not all monsters are scary. Monster Tree Service of Omaha is your go-to team of certified
crossovers, but they're
owners for tree
Cisco.
removal, tidying, stump grinding,
what?
and emergency work. Fully insured, locally owned.
They're
Cosgrove.
To book your
They're
free
Cosgrove.
estimate, call 402
That's Burlington, isn't it?
6831.
Cash flats from the
think
Nebraska
the-
Lottery
You know what cisgender is?
until April 18th.
Oh, yeah.
Buy a 2x2 ticket and enter to receive
I don't,
14
Did
you say
winners of
cis-male then?
$500.
Cis-male?
Details at nulottery.com. That's
Well,
nulottery.com.
cisgender means you're
Traditional-
you're the gender that you were born.
Yeah, traditional binary gender that you were born with, yeah.
So the crossovers are cis-male.
But D&M Roofing is on your side and has been for
It's a woke joke.
I would say it'd be non-cis. What is cis? Cis? Is cis a root word for something? Or
I looked it up one time.
Potential damage, repair, and documentation.
Cosgrove. It doesn't say, Brad didn't say on here.
I think
who
cis
built
is
it.
can it stop with all this wokeness?
D&M Roofing.
Great.
Find us online at
Very nice.
dnmroofing.com.
All right, here we go.
Let's
All right,
get
here we
that
go.
fixed.
Cosgrove.
Talk back to News Radio 1110.
You're still here?
Hear me anytime with the Talkback mic on iHeartRadio. Just sign in and sound
Talkback
off.
mic.
And welcome to the lightning round, brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction is really changing Omaha's built environment and doing a great job of it. From the Sarpy County Data Center to the local retailers that you drive by all the time, Turner Construction does all of that. Big, medium, small, and very committed to the Omaha area. One of the things we've been so impressed about Turner ever since they've come to Omaha is just how they embrace the community and get involved with what's going on and help so much with getting people involved in the construction trades. And most importantly, Turner brings you this, the lightning round. We were talking about an apartment building at 38th and Leavenworth, and we couldn't think of the name. It's the Cosgrove apartment. Huge project there at 38th and Leavenworth near the Med Center. All right, let's get into the news. Dirty Dough is coming to the metro area. Trenton, this is out in Southport.
Yeah, it's over by the new Starbucks that opened. We needed that Starbucks desperately. And Dirty Dough is another cookie chain.
Out of Arizona, 11 locations in 3 states. But
This is in a strip center.
They have 38 stores under development right now, so it's about ready to blow up. Right by Cabela's and Embassy Suites. Cibo Vino is an Italian restaurant planning to open soon in the former Jay's on Jackson space, 1101 Jackson Street in the Old Market. Chipotle Mexican Grill will open soon in the Stony Brook area, southwest of 144th and Stony Brook Boulevard.
Is that in front of the Hy-Vee?
Yeah, in front of the Hy-Vee, directly south of the Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh. It'll be a freestander, so it'll have a Chipotle. I don't think they build any of them without Chipotlanes anymore.
Try not to.
I mean, if Americans can't sit for 30 minutes in a drive-through lane, they apparently
But then we're
won't
seeing
go to your
freestanding
restaurant.
banks without drive-throughs, so I don't.
It's the world's on its head. Dave's Cakes opened a few weeks ago at 142nd and U Street in Old Millard, locally owned bakery with specialty cakes, also ready to go cakes and cupcakes in addition to ordered and customized ones. De Leon's Mexican Food opening at 16919 Audrey Street. Translated to English, that's 168th and Harrison, Southwest. In-cap space used to be a Chinese restaurant. And this store is probably going to generate a little bit of revenue. Lululemon has opened a 4,500 square foot store in the former Paradise Bakery and Cafe space.
Good outside space.
In Regency Court. What about outside space?
Direct access.
Oh, yeah, direct access. So Lululemon, of course, has an existing store at Village Point. They had that pop-up store at Exarban Village, but this permanent store, I believe, is a replacement for that.
Do you own any Lululemon for yourself?
No, of course, if I did, I wouldn't admit it. Do you?
No.
Okay. My wife owns some Lululemon, so does that count?
Nope.
H&H Shine Shop, which is a high-speed interior-exterior car wash, has opened at Steel Ridge, which is a Noddle Company's project. The exact address is 15005 Crest Road in Papillion. And a couple other things. The World Herald reported yesterday that Mio Italiano, which is the replacement for La Sola Mio, getting close. Soft opening March 21st.
Did we learn what was going on across the street in their party room?
Yeah, it's a Puerto Rican restaurant, and it's open already.
Okay.
I have yet to try it, but been meaning to get down there. I hear it's very, very good. Tous les Jeux, which Sarah Baker Hansen reviewed on the Grow Omaha Market Report a few weeks ago, going to open a second Omaha location. The first one is at 74th and Dodge. This one is going to be in Legacy near 168th and Center. And Tous les Jeux is a French bakery out of South Korea. And if you haven't tried it, it's really good. Really good. Fun stuff. And the one on 74th is right by a Charleston's, if that kind of helps you picture it a little bit better. Burger Detour, a new local hamburger restaurant. Construction going vertical at 183rd and Maple, and also planning 204 and Pacific. Music's playing so really fast. Culver's will begin construction soon at 171st and Maple by Aldi. That's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Turner Construction, Dingman's Collision Center, and D&M Roofing and Siding. We'll chat with you again next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.